So today I've got Barry Gray here. I went to the Spiritualist Church at Coomera the other week, where they said that the equivalent of John Edwards, or the Australian version of John Edwards, was going to be there tonight. I thought I had to go and have a look, and that was Barry. So I thought I'd invite him over here today and see what he's got to say.
Yeah, thanks Cameron. It's good of you to get off me over here today. It's nice to be here. So, yeah, I don't know, when it comes to John Edwards, you know, I just believe we're all individual regardless, and you know, I understand that people compare people to other people sometimes, maybe by the style in which they work, you know, but nevertheless we're still individual. Everybody's unique in their own way with the working and the way people work too. That's
right. Well, again, I've been to a lot of psychic mediums, and that was the best thing that I liked about you. You have a very similar style because of the way you communicate.
Yeah.
So tell us all about that.
Yeah, well, what generally happens to me is that sometimes spirit will be there a night before, you know, like they'll be pestering me a little bit. If I'm in the shower or if I'm watching TV, I just sense them coming in, but I try not to acknowledge that now, because otherwise it's like they'll come in and give me information. There's no way I'm going to remember that the next day off or whenever I have to give that out. So firstly, I try to encourage them not to do that, but when I actually get up to do my work, it's like the doors open and they'll just come flooding in, you know, and they start trying to talk or communicate by feeling or hearing or sensing or whatever way they want to communicate.
Right. Right. So, do you have a way of turning it on and off?
Yeah, literally, it's literally a second. It's like turning the light switch. That's how I do it. I've just learnt to. Sometimes even when you're switched off, spirit will still try to come in. So I just sort of acknowledge them but say no, it's not the right time. You know, I like to set boundaries with spirit. I've always been taught that you control it, not let it control you.
Yes.
You know, because you've got to live your physical life too. You know, which means that if your head's always up in the clouds and you're trying to connect with spirit 24/7, 7 days a week, you know, you're going to make mistakes in your physical life, and you're not going to live your physical life either.
I can't help thinking of Whoopi Goldberg, that kind of scenario.
Yeah, you know, and it's like when I first started, it's something that was new to me, it was exciting, and I'm still trying to understand the process myself. So I used to encourage spirit to come in, you know, to say, come in and talk to me, because I want to know, I want to learn. And they used to come in with a lot of information. But now I've got that information, it's like now I'm trying to use that in the way of helping other people. So it's like I have to control that so that I don't get bombarded throughout the day or throughout the night. And it's just done at certain times when I'm ready to connect with spirit.
And also you say you get bombarded, you're able to control who comes first? Or?
Yeah, generally what happens is that I get a sense of if there's an urgent message that wants to come through first, you know, like priority sort of message that comes through. So I will allow that one to come through first, whereas if there's one that comes through that's something that could just, it's like a hello sort of situation, then I will hold them back.
You can prioritise.
Yeah, you know, you sort of do it mentally, so just wait a minute, let me do this one first.
Right, and also too, when I watch you, you kind of turn up and, as if you're engaging.
Yeah.
Do you hear it mainly through your hearing, or how do you get
it works in many different ways, but my strong senses for me is actual hearing and feeling. You know, like I will hear, it's that inner voice, like the thoughts you hear sometimes. So that's how I get communication from spirit in that way.
Wow. And
then when they come through with the feeling, the sensing, it's just the sense, you know, like of a male or a female. You know, sometimes when you walk into a room and there's somebody else that's in the room with you, but you can't see them, you just know they're there.
Yes.
You get that feeling. It's that same feeling.
Well, that was interesting, because we were at Trinity the other week, and the lady next to me, you spoke to her and you said, look, I've got a male figure here and I can see a fireman. She said, oh, my dad's a fireman. Well, my dad was a fireman. So you actually see the visualisation of that as well.
Sometimes, but not always. Sometimes it's just sensing, feeling, because, you know, in mediumship, it's mainly, it's the language of feeling, it's the language of sensing, more so than anything else, you know. And you generally back up, like seeing with the feeling too. So sometimes you might see a man standing there, but you could also feel who he is. You know, like it could be the father, grandfather, son, husband. So you have to sort of use your other senses as well as seeing.
Yes.
So that's how I normally work. You know, like with that lady, it's I actually saw him as a fireman standing there. In my mind's eye, I saw that, but I sensed that it would be a father. You know, so it's the combination of senses together when it works that way for me.
All right. Now, one more thing, I suppose, which was interesting, your life story. We're going to try and keep this under 10 minutes, but what about your life story? How did you come to start and do this?
Well, you know, like most people, we experience things as kids, as children, and we never really understand what it's about at a young age.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, it's always there. Mine, again, was always hearing voices all the time, you know, it never stopped. And I thought I was going mad at one stage because it was just constant conversations all the time, and also getting a sense of never being alone. You know, I could be walking down the street and there'd be somebody was following me, or I'd keep turning around because I used to swear blind that they were that close to me at times.
Wow.
But I could never see them.
Yes.
And then throughout my life, you know, I experienced the physical side of what spirit do too. You know, moving things around, going home and just seeing things going on around the home. But not just me, my whole family, we would sit together as a big family thing as well.
Was your family spiritual as well?
Yeah, all very much. You know, I've got 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and we lost 2 as well. But, you know, we'd sit in the house during the day, in broad daylight like this, and we'd see an animal would come through the wall, like literally just in front of us. And we'd all just,
really?
Like, did you just see that? And it's like, yeah, we all saw it. Or
fair dinkum.
Banging noises upstairs, and you know, so I've experienced the physical side of mediumship and the psychic world, spiritual world as well. So, but for me, it's went to a later part of my life where I went through a really, really bad time. You know, really, I lost my work, my business, my home, my marriage, absolutely everything. You know, so I was stripped back to the bones, as it were.
Yes. And
I went into my first spiritualist church then, and you know what it's like, you've got certain expectations, you hear stories. So I went into mine and I just sat at the back of the room thinking, if things get weird, I can get out a bit quick, you know. But straight away I got picked on by the medium for the night, and she said to me that you should be doing healing, you should practice healing, but one day you're going to be doing what I'm doing, but overseas. And I'm like, you've got to be joking. I'd only know the first.
How many years ago was that?
This was probably 22 years ago.
Wow.
You know, so, but I went to my first development group back then, and I went into another 2 since then, and they're very strict. You know, it was the same day, the same time, every week, no excuses as to why not to turn up. You know, and very disciplined teachers.
Very well done.
Yeah, very disciplined teachers. You know, and it's done the right way. This is how it's got to be done. It's none of this hairy-fairy stuff. It's straight to the point, and this is what it's got to be about. All
right. Well, like I said, 22 years of real experience now.
Yeah.
Barry, where do you live?
Cabarita Beach.
Cabarita Beach, which is south of Tweed Heads for those who live a bit north of us. Now, how do you do this? Do people come to your house? Do you go to their house? How do you work it?
Well, generally I work from a holistic clinic down in Kingscliff, where people come through the website or they phone me to book a reading.
Yep.
So generally they'll come to me at the clinic. But sometimes if I get enough people together, I do go to people's homes sometimes as well, especially in Brisbane, because that's a little bit further for me to travel. So if there's a group of people, it makes it worthwhile for me to go.
Okay, and I did say to Barry he's very cheap, or too cheap, because he's very good at what he does. But what I like is that he tries to make it achievable for most people. That's your ideology?
For everybody, yeah, because you know this work is not so much about lining your pocket, but it's about helping people too.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to have that sort of balance with it, and it's the intent with the work. So to me, it's keeping it accessible for everybody that needs it.
All right. So below this, where you're watching this now, there'll be Barry's website, there'll be Barry's contact number, and also too, there'll be a link to a South East Queensland spiritual connection site where Barry and many other medium psychics and healers will all be on there. So click onto it, join the group, give Barry a ring, and come and see him. Like tonight, we've got how many people? We've got 7 people here tonight, and Barry's going to do a group reading, not group reading, a one-on-one reading with all of us. So how many people from a minimum do you want?
Probably 8, depending on where the area is too. You know, if we've got to travel further, then probably 10 would be a better number, because it makes it worthwhile, more cost effective.
Absolutely. All right.